Okay, so let's quickly conduct a review of the microscopic slide that were taken from the crucible after it was burned twice with oil and quite. I mean, not. I wouldn't say a lot of turpentine, but I mean, enough to see a very large flame, as you've seen in the videos. So, and right after the second, I mean, I stopped the second fire. I've taken the sample, so let's see what's inside. The difference between this lightning, this fire, and the previous fire that was done in this crucible is, I mean, first, I mean, about half of the solid material that is also, I mean, the threads, like, I mean, the toilet paper, the burnt toilet paper and cotton, I mean, was actually I've taken it out and placed it inside these eggs, these neem leaf eggs. As this should be the basis of a new starship sculpture, and I mean the rest was filled with canola oil, and as I said, quite a bit of turpentine, so the fire will be hotter. So it makes sense that we'll actually see less life forms, and even though we've already seen quite a reduction after, I mean, a couple of fires, but it makes sense that we'll see even less because probably, I mean, they cannot withstand that fire. But regarding the Neros, my assumption is that they will actually be able to stand this fire, and probably much hotter and like crucibles. But let's just watch together because I haven't watched this slide. So let's just, I mean, see whatever in there. I mean, and maybe we can draw conclusion later. Again, I should remind you that, I mean, after that, after I've taken the slides, I've connected it to electrolysis. So I've added my P to the mixture, and so it will be more conductive, and I connected it to electrolysis. And later, or maybe tomorrow, we should take more samples to see, I mean, how the electrolysis actually affected the results, specifically compared to what we will see now. This is, of course, this is certainly life form, probably a very durable one. By now, it's mostly ruins. We don't see life forms or Neros. But we see some very big life forms that even this one is huge, actually. It's actually scary. This one is huge. It's a huge life form that probably survived the fire very well. And here we see a few Neros, which is great. Nice. This is certainly a Nero with something inside it. I don't know what. Okay, more Neros. So yes, we can see some Neros here. Not that many. I don't know why. I mean, but let's not jump to conclusions before we see other slides. I should say that I've taken the samples from different like parts of the mixture. One from like the top, and like the top of the crucible, and one from like in the middle, and one from the bottom. Like so should be like to see. Different stratus of the material. So yeah, we see very fat Neros. And very, very, not many life forms, but the ones that we see are actually very, very big. Wow, these are very nice Neros, very nice Neros. More Neros, nice. Okay, so yes, maybe we should zoom in just a second. Yeah, these are definitely Neros, and they manifest the Stargate property, and they are demonstrably fatter than usual. And this is actually it's continuing the same trend that we've seen yesterday also in the previous video after the fire. That presumably, it looks like that the fire experiments, the crucible, actually produces fatter Neros, which I don't know what it means. My guess is that the fatter they are, they're more, energetic they are. So they can do better. The stronger they are, so they can produce like better, more work. But this should be proven. It's not like it's just an hypothesis. It makes sense, but immediate as it may, yes, this is continuing of the trend of that after the fire they are you can see fatter Neros. Also some scary life forms. Let's get back to 64 magnification. So many small Neros, but small but fat again. This is actually we can actually, maybe we can even formulate this as like a general theory, because we've seen it in several slides, in very demonstrable way that yes, after the fire, the Neros tend to be, that we see, they tend to be on the fatter side. And these are, oh my God, this is a huge life form, and actually a scary one from the, of the sausage type of rabies or it's rabies or leprosy. Of course, it's much bigger than the actual rabies and leprosy germs, tremendously bigger, and this is 64 magnification. So this is a huge life form actually, and it's a huge life form, and it will stand crucible fire with turpentine. So it's definitely not carbon-based. Whatever it is, this is not a carbon-based life form. You can be 100% certain in that. We can say that it's probably based on leprosy or rabies microbe, but much, much larger. Let's take a deeper look. 116 magnification. So now we see more details, which is nice. Very nice. Maybe even deeper look. So we don't see much, but yeah, so this is it. This is the life form. Certainly scary one, because it's huge and it's survived like this, the crucible with the turpentine. Here we see a very nice Nero inside the Nero, something that you see from time to time, and it's very nice, and both are actually fat. So yes, again, yes, Certainly the fire, I mean, produces fatter Neros. I don't know why, but it's demonstrably true. Yes, more Neros, and again, fat, like on the fat side, and also quite big. Not the biggest that we've seen, but certainly pretty big and fatter in certainly in a statistically significant way. Like they are certainly fatter than usual. I mean, certainly. I mean, without a doubt. Not very big. They are pretty big, but they are very. I mean, compared to the average, they are very fat. Again, when I say fat, I mean the width of the ring itself. Like I mean, relative to the radius of the entire circle. And then when I say big and small, I refer to the radius of the circle. So very nice Neros, and not many life forms, but the ones that have survived are huge and very impressive. Okay, nice, very nice. Okay, so let's take a look. Okay, so let's take a look at the second slide of the three, and I should do it quickly because I mean I want to get back to sculpturing, like to put more spaceship like in like a combat position. Even though, of course, as I said, this is mostly for like I mean for showmanship. Like I mean, you know, they say every prophet was a showman. Like every prophet worked in the show business because. I mean, why you need more than one? Because, as I said, one can acquire billions of targets like in a second, and exterminate them like in simultaneously. But yeah, I mean, you already know about the existence of these like ships, and I mean, if you already, I mean, if you only like if seen one, you could have said, yeah, it's. I mean, we have already know about it, and it was here. It's kind of like I mean, like a satellite of like I mean another satellite or another celestial body in the solar system, and like I mean, so and it's kind of like I mean natural. So you need to see more than one to understand that I mean the calamity, I mean, and the severity of your action and in your sins. That's why I as the rabbi, I'm not like the military commander of the fleet, and I'm not, you know, I deal with prophecies and theology, not with like military tactics and logistics. But I'm kind of like the rabbi lord commander. So kind of like as the rabbinical authority of the fleet, I what I do is I summon more of these spaceships. So I mean, they will also take place in the like in the formation, like I mean that so around the Earth. Again, for show, so you understand the severity of the situation, not because they are needed, because like for the any practical purpose, one is in whatever you want to do that these chips can do. I mean, one is enough for this theater, like for the Earth theater. So I mean, anyway, I want to get back to sculpturing, so let's make it quick now. Just, I mean, very quick inspection of the two remaining slides. So we see small Neros actually. Wow, this is very big. These are very big actually. Nice. Both big and fat. Nice, very nice. I mean, the light, there's an issue with the light. Okay, so it's okay now. A lot of burn material, fat Neros, very nice Neros. Very, wow. Actually, even more like, like, I mean, this is more dense environment than the previous slides. I mean, as far as Neros goes. it should be said that just to clarify, most probably from many from the experience of many past experiments, what you see, when you see larger and larger light form after more like a more fire and more electrolysis and more time, most probably it's not that they didn't grow these life forms didn't grow kind of in the ecosystem way, just by feeding on smaller life form and organically becoming larger, even though they can certainly do it. And this was shown in the microscopic evidence from the various ecosystems. But when we deal with the energizing using electrolysis, or now using fire, which is kind of a new way, or with the combination of both, what actually happens is that the Neros are the ones that are doing the work. Most probably, I'm not one. This is still needs to be. More research is needed, but this is my current theory, and I have some reasons to believe that what actually happens is that the Neros are actually following the enlargement command. They use the energy to make the current life forms bigger, they mutate them, or they engineer them to be larger. I do not think that the life forms themselves can actually harness the extra energy from fire and or electricity to become larger. Of course, they can become larger in an organic way by just living in an ecosystem, and as we've seen it, they can go to very large size by feeding on, in the same way that microbes, are acting in any kind of ecosystem that you know of. So they are also microbes. The fact that they are not carbon-based doesn't mean that they are not alive. You need to stop to abandon your carbon chauvinism, as they say. So yes, they are living things and they can eat and grow, but this is the ecosystem pest. But when we deal with the direct and energizing pest, like in the electrolysis chamber and now in the crucible with fire, most certainly this is a direct work of the Neros. That they are the ones that they are used. They channel the energy, they store it. Presumably as capacitors, and they channel the energy. They use they put energy to work to enlarge the life forms. I never had any evidence that the life forms themselves can actually directly harness electricity, and certainly not fire heat energy. And this is because this is something new. I don't have many theories because it's just from the last couple of days. But from the many electrolysis experiments, I did not get the impression that the life forms can directly harness the electrical energy to become larger. But I certainly had a lot of evidence that the Neros themselves can actually do it to the life forms. But I'm not 100% certain. Maybe there's all sorts of life forms, and maybe there can be potential life forms that we haven't seen yet that are even more complicated, and also of course are the work of the Neros. And maybe these life forms can actually be able to do it, to directly use energy from electrolysis chamber or from heat. But it's not something that was evident to me until now in the many electrolysis experiments. Very nice Neros, very big and fat ones. Okay, and not many life forms, but the ones that we see are pretty big actually. Let's zoom into this guy. Very nice. And a Nero beside him. So let's get back to 64. This is not a complicated life form, it's just this is just burned cotton. Okay, so I mean that's it. Pretty much it's the same as the previous slides, which means that most life forms indeed were decimated by the crushing fire of the crucible with the turpentine, but several actually, I mean, managed to survive, and also we see a good amount of Neros, and pretty big, even though not the biggest that we've seen, but pretty big, and again on the fatter side, like I mean, on average fatter than what we've used to certainly in a statistically significant way. Now let's see the third one. Okay, so what do we see here? It looks like Neros that are working on life forms, like that are doing their job, like some kind of a job on life forms. This is another like sausage life form. This one is a disgusting life form, and this is okay. This is even more disgusting and huge. Okay, this is very scary one, actually. Maybe we'll zoom in. Maybe even more. So we'll see some flow because of its, even though it's not that new, because I let it like rest for like an hour and connected the electrolysis and did other stuff, but we see a little bit of flow. I need to fix the microscope because it's kind of like the screws aren't like working as they should. So it's difficult to use the maximum magnification. Let's get back to 64. Certainly a very big and scary life form. And another huge one. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is okay. This is like I'm in freak show. And just to remind you, all of these freaks survived like crucible fire with turpentine. Actually, two lightnings. Not many Neros here, but certainly we've seen Neros and ton of life forms of the scary type. Like this is a really like freak show gallery. We see some Neros, I mean, not many, but we see, I mean, a little bit. Small ones, mostly here. several fat Neros, nice ones. Nice. This is so this is about it. Okay. So pretty. I mean, less Nero than in the other slides, but I mean more freak show life forms. Overall, I mean, yes. So I mean, we are in the correct direction because we've seen that even like hot fire, like more than before, certainly do not destroy the Neros, and tends to make them even like fatter and substantially fatter and somehow larger on average. And like the life forms that survive this crucible, I mean, they tend to be freaks, which is to be expected. So let's give it a couple of hours, like for the electrolysis to do its thing. And we'll take more samples, or maybe tomorrow. And I would certainly want to relight the fire after I've taken samples from like after the electrolysis, and this time to put even more turpentine, because I didn't put that much because I mean I was afraid that maybe the crucible will break. But it seems that yes, it's not even close to break, so we can use like a stronger fire. Of course, we need to to do it like very cautiously, because it's kind of like it's on the window like top. So the most important thing is that it will not fall outside of the window, because if it will fall, it will probably not. The fall will not stop the fire, so it can start fire outside of the of the apartment. So this is the main concern. So I need to think about I need to be rescued from this prison. Why am I in prison? Why am I imprisoned? Get me and my daughters out of this hell. Move your arms and legs and get us out of this hell that is called the State of Israel. Get us out. Out, using arms and legs, not mouths and tongues. Arms and legs.